Good evening, Karate with Infinite Patience. You and I are rare people indeed. Welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. How y'all doing? I'm Tom Connors. With me is the Mexican Iron Man. How you doing, sir?
Howdy, from the South. This here's Mexican Iron Man from South Carolina, and we done got the thunderstorms here. Yep, we got thunderstorms.
We're going to be getting some rain, but I don't know if it's going to be thunderstorms. But we do have with us 6. How you doing? Just one of them, but it's 6. How you doing? You're muted.
Hi.
Hi.
It always takes me forever to find that fucking button.
I know, right? Welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Doing the best I can. I went to the dentist and I went to the eye doctor.
Nice.
I got new eyes.
Ooh.
New. Oh, that explains why you look so new. So strange.
Look out, ladies.
I'm just wearing contacts.
Oh, no,
right now.
there's a stampede of women coming at Tom. Tom! Ah! Stop, women!
Not likely. No. Oh, look, I wasn't sure if Mr. Script Doctor was going to show up, but hello, Script Doctor.
Oh, good evening, everybody.
Hello.
How you doing?
I am well. How is everyone doing today?
We're doing well. I was just about to introduce Nick Weiser, but I'll introduce you first. How you?
Leave
Welcome
me
to
alone.
the program.
Go talk to Nick. He's cool.
Well, Nick is here, but Nick Weiser. Man, oh Shabbats. Tonight, Toxic Tuesday.
Heavy metal. Enough said.
Exactly. So after this show tonight, be sure to join us there, because we're going to be talking some heavy metal over on 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. I got home from work and just was listening to the literal heavy metal soundtrack on the way back from work. It's just taking me into that world of the movie. So I'm all primed on heavy metal right now. So glad to be on here with you and Script and Mike and Six. It's gonna be a huge night tonight. I can feel it. It's gonna be huge.
You know, that soundtrack is kick-ass. You know, you got Cheap Trick, you've got,
Sammy Hagar doing a rendition of heavy metal. Yeah.
And then you've got, oddly enough, you've got Journey on there.
Yes,
sitting there singing, lying beside you, here in my arms. It's like, that's the song you pick from Journey on a heavy metal soundtrack?
Well, they
and then I come to you. It's like, come on, man. No Wheels in the Sky.
Right, that would have been perfect. They also had Devo. They had Blue Oyster Cult.
Devo had a couple of songs on there, yeah. Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath. It was the Mob Rules when Dio joined, which love that song, love that album. Woo! Yeah, it's gonna be a fun night. But
that's a kick-ass album, though.
We got some topics to talk about here, and hail to the chat. Thank you all for being here.
I pick on Journey, but guess what?
What?
I think that's the biggest hit off that album, too. But yes, please hit that like button, as Nick was saying, and hit the share.
Rub it the right way. A lot.
Yes. So we have some regulars in the house. We got KRNet. We got Stephanie Janisek. I see Coffee Lover 239 is here. Putin's Cat's here. We got Max Relax. We got SP4H. We have Das Woofen. We have Sean Estep. We have Archangel in the house. We also have a member milestone, that is. Cosmic Squirrel has been a member for 7 months. Thank you so much for that. You are a minimum effort puppy, and we appreciate that. And you know what? Just for fun, we'll do this one. Here's a puppy for you.
Hey, it's an alien!
There you go. Then we've got Silver Shroud here. We've got Ken Jack Ben. Knight of Snoke is here. Has a question for us right off the bat. Why so many of these Q&As with celebrities and that are asking BS questions about bloopers or best prankers? BS that generally fans don't care for. A way to avoid real tough questions. Well, first of all, most of the time, depending on the type of interview it is, especially if it's like a red carpet interview, it's meant to be fluffy and light, and they're supposed to talk about the movie and stuff like that. And usually when they go on a show like, Christ, I was just going to say Letterman, but Steve, who's this now? Steve, who's a reporter, whatever his name is. Who's the fucking guy? Colbert. Yeah, Colbert. Like if they go on one of those shows, they'll have like a cute story or something to talk about or whatever to just kind of get into the situation. But unless you're doing like one of those like tell-all interviews with Barbara Walters or something like that back in the day, like, yeah, you don't expect any hardball questions, right? Script, I mean, it's all kind of pre-planned other than that outside of red carpet, which they're just meant to ask like softball stuff anyway.
Script, it's like I want to lead script into something. I find these interviews to be hilarious nowadays. Where I mean, back in the day, way back in the day, like they actually were interesting, but now they're like, so script doctor, tell us about your creative vision for when you decided to make this amazing script. That's the part
I
where
think
you
he
act like
stepped
celebrity.
away.
Oh man, I was getting him up for a joke.
You know what's a good example? While we're on this subject, I'll mention some until script arrives. But I can't remember what movie it was for, but it was a one for red carpet premiere where Matt Damon was on premiere, and he was talking about something about the environment, and then some lady actually asked him a hardball question, and he had like a stunned look on his face. I was just like, whoa, why did he like look like that? Like he looked like, does he not know something about this? He was just talking like he knows everything about this, and all of a sudden he's got this like priceless look on his face. And that was, oh God, I was probably around middle high school when that happened. So now looking back in the sense, obviously now I learned that these things are very, very deeply scripted. And I think he was probably expecting to just say what he says because he's a celebrity, and of course you're not going to question me. And then someone actually did the rare hardball question. They're like, oh, yeah.
Don't they ask those fluffy questions because they don't want the celebrity to avoid them in the future? Like if I went up and I asked a celebrity a question that may have been a little confrontational or made them uncomfortable, they might avoid me on the red carpet.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good possibility. Or like, say, like you're on the red carpet and you ask them something stupid, and then later on you want to get a one-on-one with them. They'll be like, no, screw you. You were a jerk to me.
And do most people who watch those kinds of interviews, did they really want the hardball questions, or did they want just the fluffy, superficial?
Well, would you want hard questions?
Would I want to be asked to them?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care. I'd tell them to fuck off if I didn't want to answer.
Well, see, that's the thing. In most of these cases, you can't just tell them to fuck off.
Yeah. That's why I'm not a celebrity.
It's kind of a give and take, right? So, like, in most cases, you're not like I agree. Like, you're not going to sit there and ask a jerky question on the red carpet and expect that celebrity to ever come near you again. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when they do these, like, let's say they got a premiere coming up here. What's this weekend's Thor? Now you're going to see a bunch of interviews with like Chris Hemsworth and what's her face who plays Jane, Natalie Portman, and all those guys. And you're going to notice that the background never changes, but the interviewer changes. That's because all they do is they just move in like a cattle call, each interviewee, and they get their 5 minutes with those guys and they get to ask whatever questions. And it's usually stuff that you're not going to be able to get away with asking any controversial shit. And if they try to, then they're just going to shut them down. That's what a lot of times will happen, especially in those kind of settings. Because again, like the Amber Heard thing, for instance, that was completely set up to where she knew she was going to be asked these. She even knew in advance which questions she was going to be asked, and she still gave those shitty answers.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, in those cases, like especially when they're trying to fix their image or something like that, they'll do that, and they'll get. You know, like Alec Baldwin tried doing that stupid interview afterwards and all that kind of stuff. So, but we got a couple more member milestones, including Gonzalo Bergali, who's been here for 8 months at the maximum effort puppy level. And he says, it is showtime. It is indeed. We got Kenneth LaRock here for 13 months at the minimum effort puppy level. And Loss for Words has been a member for 5 months at the minimum effort puppy level. So for you guys, we're going to give you this.
I got 5 pieces of candy. I got a chocolate bar. I got a quarter. I got a rock.
You got geodes.
Yeah. Hey, how's
Well,
that Congo video coming along?
Congo. If I could have a day where I don't have to go to an appointment or edit a video, and then Andre's like sending me videos left and right. He sent me one on the way home, and I'm like, when do you think I'm going to have time to do this?
You already wrote one from yesterday from last night?
Yeah, he even sent me the audio and everything already.
Wow.
I know, he's a machine. Waltman4 says, so Warner Brothers Comic-Con plans don't include Blue Beetle, Flash, Aquaman 2, or any of the Arrowverse shows. Panel's thoughts.
Ooh.
Well, the Arrowverse is pretty much dead. In fact, what's-her-face Supergirl just signed a deal for a completely different show now over at Warner.
Are you talking about Melissa Benoit?
Yes.
I know she's with another man, but I just want you guys to know on the panel that I'm almost over her now. The breakup, it's been enough time, but these breakups are tough.
You guys were together?
It was a really, don't laugh at me, Nick. My heart's broken over here.
I'm confused.
It must be his truth.
Yeah. In Mexican Iron Man, I was growing a tortilla plantation of love for Melissa Benoit. It was gonna have there was a little Supergirl statue, and next to the Supergirl statue was a little Mexican Iron Man with a sombrero. And that's where the garden were when we were gonna express our vows of love to each other. But then he entered the picture. He stole her from me. And then I had to walk away, brokenhearted. And now he's with her. If anyone sees why Melissa Benoit should not have this union, they speak now. And I tried to speak. I'm like, hola? Hola?
Was the priest like, I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish?
And then he said, and then he pronounced that man and wife, and I'm like, pero no pueden hacer eso. No, and then I was
Oh my god. That was amazing.
I'm sorry, Mike.
That's the sound of my broken heart.
I love you.
I love you.
That's what she said.
Lost
That's what she
love.
said. And then she left me on the side of the road selling mangoes and lemons.
I don't ever remember seeing any pictures of you two together. And do you know she does have a baby now, right?
Hey.
Yeah, with He-Man.
Hey. My story, my truth.
Well, I mean, you call her Benoit, but her name's Benoist.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's why she probably left you, Mike.
You cannot make fun of me because I have the Mexican accent. You cannot make fun of me.
You're like walking around, hey, Mindy, come here. She's like, it's Melissa. And whatever.
You know what was the worst thing is Max's mom. I introduced before we had Max when I brought her to meet the family and shit. Like I introduced her with the wrong name. I got slapped on the back of the head, and my mom says, "Don't worry, it's okay, mijo. Whenever you introduce me and your girlfriends, I just call them mija because I can't remember their names either."
Oh Lord!
True story. That is a true.
I can
story.
believe that.
Believe it.
I've talked to your mom. I can totally believe that.
Yep.
D-Bud Martin has been a member for 12 months. Happy anniversary! At the maximum effort puppy level, says, I miss the good old days when washed up female celebrities would pose for Playboy and try to restart their careers. Well, me too, sadly.
No, Playboy apparently is claiming that they don't do centerfolds anymore, but that's a lie.
Oh, they've been bouncing back and forth. But somebody who doesn't bounce around much because they're made out of rock is Clobbering Times. How you doing, sir?
Hey, buddy. Sorry I'm so late, everyone. Hello.
You're not too late. We haven't even got to the main topic yet.
Hello, my friends. Six, good to see you, and almost good to see. Everyone else is good to see too, but it's better to see you. Let me just be honest.
Listen to that flirt.
That wasn't a flirt.
You're as bad as Mike.
What?
Well, no one's that bad. No one's that bad, though. Oh, 6, you're too
Wait,
kind.
what? We mean that?
Because
what?
you're just an old lech, man. Hey,
Whoa! Ouch!
you are, man.
He's
No,
a
you're a
ladies'
fun-
man. He's a
Yeah,
Don Juan.
He's a Fonzie to me, though.
He's Don Juan Solo.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh.
Somehow I feel that sounded like it was a compliment, but it didn't feel like one.
No, Don Juan, and you're dashing. And look, I wouldn't rather have nobody but Mike as my wingman because he ain't afraid to strike out 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times.
And let's just put it this way: I absolutely go to the plate and I swing a bat, and I may strike out 2, 3 times, but at one point or another, I'm hitting a home run,
Or you might hit a double.
or I might hit a double, but
That's
I
the
get
way you
on
do it.
base one way or the other.
Damn
Mexican
right.
Iron Man gets on base.
And I've heard
That's
some
the
of
way
the
you do it,
stories,
man.
and I'm like, Mike, what have you done? He's like,
okay, we're
well,
changing the subject. Oh my God, did you guys hear what happened over at Disney? Oh my God.
that's Mike's way of segueing us into the main
Uh-oh.
topic of the day.
Well, it has been 15 minutes, so
Yes, that's probably good timing. And we have 400 of you folks watching.
Woo!
Holy crap-oli.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, D-Bud, sometimes it's even more than that. But you know what? It's fun watching, I'm sure. We're gonna get Mike a private plane so he can come pick me up on the weekends.
Oh, and I gotta go visit.
Oh,
You'll never
there you
believe I became buddies with. You remember Amplify Crate from yesterday's Midnight Session?
Yeah, he's in the chat right now.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking. He and I have been chatting all day long. He's my new buddy. Like I'm gonna go see him in London next year.
Awesome. That's cool.
Yep. We're going to have
Tea
Thomas,
and crumpets,
tea and scones at high tea.
scones.
Tea and scones at high tea. Yes,
Oh, dear.
it's what the fancy
Oh,
pants
dear.
Mexicans are in partaking.
Mexican Iron Man goes to England. That's going to be amazing.
I watched that movie. That sounds like a great
European
movie.
vacation. Yeah. Holiday road.
What if they'll let me back in the U.S.? They'll be like, "We've been trying to get you out for a long time."
No. Are you sure you're a citizen, sir? But yes, the big news of the day. This kind of took us by surprise this afternoon. But then again, it might not have taken you by surprise if you've been listening to Midnight's Edge. Embattled Disney CEO Bob Chapek gets contract extension. This came via Variety. Embattled Walt Disney Company chief Bob Chapek got a critical endorsement after the Entertainment Giants board of directors voted unanimously on Tuesday, that's all, folks, to extend his contract for an additional 3 years. The move comes as Chapek's future has been hotly debated around Hollywood in the media circles after taking the reins from his charismatic predecessor, Bob Iger. Chapek got plaudits for his no-nonsense approach to growing Disney's streaming service. And, wait a minute, aren't you not supposed to start a sentence with an and like that?
I swear the writers suck. Script
it's
fix it.
preferable. It's preferable not to.
Pork.
Yeah, I was gonna
Never end a
say.
sentence with a preposition.
It doesn't look right. It really doesn't look
that
right.
camper with if they were whacking.
Kids, Pork, we don't have time for this.
Cavity skirt. They want full rotor rooter.
Not till you go till you reach the back of their gums. Anyway, I love that fucking movie. Did I just score? And he and the company
have ever scored. Sorry.
never. And he and the company's stock has initially rewarded when Disney Plus blew past subscribers' projections after launching in 2019. That helped set off the lost revenues that Disney had to endure during when COVID first. I can't read today.
Can I read
Force
it
the-
for you then?
If you want, I got my
Today.
contacts and I should probably take them out.
All right. So
True.
I'll
Thanks,
pick it up.
script.
and he and the company's stock was initially rewarded with Disney Plus Blue Plus subscriber projections after launching in 2019. That helped offset the lost revenues that Disney had to endure when COVID forced the company to shutter its parks and cruise businesses temporarily. But there were several missteps. Dun, dun, dun. Most notably when Chapek dealt with a near staff revolt in the wake of his botched response to an anti-gay bill in Florida, where Walt Disney World is located. Chapek initially sought to avoid entering the political fray by largely remaining silent, which enraged staffers, but ultimately came against the new law and announced a pause on political donations in Florida. God, that's awfully written. That infuriated Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who responded by abolishing Disney's self-governing district in Orlando. It's also thrown Disney, a company that has often tried to avoid the culture wars, into the center of several polarizing political debates. Those weren't the only times when Chapek's hand seemed less than steady. He also got in a high-profile standoff with Scarlett Johansson after the actor sued the company for its decision to simultaneously release her Marvel adventure, Black Widow, in theaters and on streaming in the summer of 2021. That move was seen as damaging to relations with the talent community. This month, Chapek attracted a fresh wave of negative coverage after he unceremoniously fired Peter Rice, a well-regarded executive who was seen as a possible successor to the Disney chief. Rice, who served as general entertainment chief, had recently renewed his contract, which forced Disney to pay out millions. At the time, the company's board made the highly unusual decision of publicly announcing that it was once again backing Chapek. On Tuesday, the board once again praised Chapek as the right steward to guide Disney through a tumultuous time in the entertainment business. Chapek's extended contract, which kicks in July 1, calls for him to be granted long-term annual stock awards of at least $20 million. Chapek's annual base salary of $2.5 million is unchanged, according to contract details disclosed in a Securities and Exchange Commission filing. Disney was dealt a tough hand by the pandemic, yet with Bob at the helm, Disney was dealt a tough hand by the pandemic, yet with Bob at the helm, our business from parks to streaming not only weathered the storm, but emerged in a position of strength, said Susan Arnold, chairman of the board. In this important time of growth and transformation, the board is committed to keeping Disney on the successful path it has on today. And Bob's leadership is key to achieving that goal. Bob is the right leader at the right time for the Walt Disney Company, and the board has full confidence in him and his leadership team. Chapek is a 30-year veteran of Disney and previously oversaw the company's lucrative theme parks business. Leading this great company is the honor of a lifetime, and I am grateful to the board for their support, said Chapek. I started at Disney almost 30 years ago, and today have the privilege of leading one of the world's greatest, most dynamic companies, bringing joy to millions around the world. Well, shares of Disney were slightly up in after-hours trading after closing Tuesday, down 7.1% at 95.92. Back to you, Tom.
All right. Well, my response to this is, oh, is your head done spinning yet from all the spin that was in that article there? Lord Almighty. It sounds like somebody who was caught like a deer in headlights there. If you ask me, they're just like, well, we can't understand. How the hell did Bob Chapek get? This just makes no sense.
But Bob Iger was charismatic, Tom.
He was charismatic and woke.
And
we just don't get this. Why, after the failure of Lightyear, would they do this? This just makes no sense. Yes, please.
Top Gun is the highest grossing movie of this year. And it's not a Disney film. And all of the stuff that's coming out is technically the stuff that is what Bob Chapek has been urgently trying to avoid doing with the product. He's got all this package saying, I know these things are going to fail. This is why. And if you don't believe me, we'll just have to wait the numbers. And the numbers have come in. And guess what he's saying? I'm like, yep, I was right. If I can predict that these are going to fail, that means I can predict what's going to be a success. So back me for 3 more years. I'll turn this company around 100%. You only give me till April of next year. I can't promise that the next person coming in is going to do any better of a job than myself. And I think I think that's what happened with him and the board.
I think you're right. I think that, first of all, like I have to remind people that, things are looking really dire at Disney right now, but Bob's only been running the company now for the better part of almost half a year, a little over half a year now.
Yeah. I'd go with
people forget
at 7-8 months.
I was gonna say, because people forget that Iger went and reinserted himself right after COVID started, which is right after Bob Chapek was announced to be the CEO. And we all knew that publicly Iger was not too happy with this move. This is not his choice. This was the board's choice. And as we keep moving along here, even though this Variety article, and I love how salty it fucking sounds. Like these fuckers are salty as shit.
They're so pissed they couldn't. This is written so poorly and so quickly and hastily. They're just livid. You can feel it in the writing.
Now, here's the thing, Slithering Peanut. I see what you're saying here. The fact that Chapek was able to fire Peter Rice, this is why we're not so like surprised by this news. Because as we said when we reported on that, you can't just fire somebody like Peter Rice that high up in the company, no matter who you are. You have to get clearance.
If he's in the pool of the possible number 2s to replace Iger, yeah, you have to get a lot of checks and balances with regards before you can terminate someone of that nature, especially with a payout of what, like $7 to $8 million.
Exactly. So that's my point. That was strategic. That was done. He was given permission to do that, and this is why I'm not surprised he got his extension, because that means the board is willing to let him go to town.
I'm gonna go a step further, which is that there was an announcement a little over a month ago, and I subscribe to the Orlando Business Journal. It's a premium subscription, and so a lot of the stuff that they put online, you can only get with the stuff you get online is not what you get in the premium subscription, which I get. And there was an interesting series they ran, going about the details about how Disney was pulling back on its major move of employees and on a housing project, and they deferred it for 18 months. When I read that and saw the way that it was being written and the information as it was being disclosed, that was my first sign. I said, okay, these guys are going to do a clean house. Before they move all these wackos, they're going to pull back and they're going to decide who comes, because Disney will become a Florida company. And by the way, Douglas Nelson has prepared something for us, Tom, to commemorate today's news. May I share it?
Please do.
Well, no, you're absolutely right, Mike. If they're going to be uprooting their entire film division to a different state, they're only going to pay for the people they want to keep around.
Yep. And what was more interesting is that on one of the articles, they talked about how they were scaling back the number of people that they were bringing from California. Now, that told me a lot, because they're essentially building housing units and all this other stuff. And that told me a lot. And also what they did is they announced in that article that they had hired a Florida-based talent recruitment firm to fill a bunch of positions that would be named later in the year. And I found that also incredibly interesting, because that told me that they don't plan on bringing a lot of these woke, weirdos from California over there.
That's true. Now, keep in mind, they're not going to be completely removing themselves from California, because they do need an anchor there for a number of other future projects. But primarily, I think it's going to be basically main operations are going to be coming out of Florida in the foreseeable future, which is interesting, because for the longest time as a kid, I always felt that Disney kind of spent more time in Florida and not in California to begin with. I only learned that was much different when I started coming out to California. So I think this is a nice little step in the right direction. We'll see how this plays out over the next few months. They still have a lot of work to do to get themselves back into a more profitable position.
I mean, if I were him and I thinking like the way accountants think, it's exactly what Tom was getting to earlier. I mean, it's like, or like you were talking script. It's like, look, you want this thing to continue to go downhill? Go ahead. I said, but we got to, I mean, right now is a perfect time to name him, because now the other great thing for him is that coming into this position, the stock can't get any worse. I mean, it could, but it's highly unlikely. So the only room to go is up. I mean, they can't have a bigger failure than Lightyear. I'm not right now, but later in this broadcast, before we sign off, I want to share a story from someone who saw Lightyear. I don't want to do it now, but I'll do it before we end the show. But someone that I talked to that saw Lightyear with their 6-year-old, and I found it absolutely fascinating. So right now it's the ideal time for Chapek to come in and take over. This company is just infested with termites. I was talking to Stephanie, and I said to Janacek, is that to me where we're at is that Chapek, this is an infested house of rotten wood of woke. And Chapek needs to put a tent on this thing and fumigate this motherfucker if it has any chance to succeed. Otherwise, if Disney doesn't get its shit together, it could very well find itself needing to sell off assets and get back to its core business, which has happened to many a Fortune 500 company over the last 40 years.
That's true. And Disney is not unfamiliar with selling potentially profitable IPs that they have spent a lot of money on in the past.
It has happened before, but at this point, I think we're kind of in the holding, wait and see pattern. But I'm curious what Klobby and Six and Nick think. Let's start with you, Klobby. What's this news tell you? Did he step away?
Did they all step away?
I'm here.
Oh, we lost him. Holy
Oh, I
cow.
think he has to have had a computer issue then.
Oh, there he goes. Okay, Six, go ahead.
Well, it doesn't tell me anything. It just brings up questions. Why are they announcing it now? If his contract wasn't set to expire until February of next year, what is going on now that they decided to vote on this? Are they looking to bolster the stock price? Are they looking to help out ticket sales with Thor? Why now is this coming out, and why are they announcing it?
The board of directors had a meeting. The board of directors meets in between earnings, in between quarterly results and in between earnings calls. The board meets regularly.
Right.
And so they were meeting anyways. And so what Susan Arnold did is she put his contract up, and this is basically done. An announcement like this is made to bring stability to the company and the public marketplace, and also let the world know. This has really been this has been done for one reason and one reason mostly, which is that it's to send a signal to the industry, the stockholders, and all the people that work in the company that Chapek is in charge. And he's so in charge that we're not even going to wait till later to let everyone know that he's in charge. We're letting the world know right here, right now.
I agree. It's a vote of confidence. It's giving him, it's basically sending a message through the company that he's in charge, kind of like the whole Peter Rice firing was kind of a message being sent to anybody else who wants to try and start another insurrection.
And that they're willing to pay out any amount of money in order to get rid of you.
Yep.
And why is his contract starting July 1st as opposed to when his current contract expires in February?
Because it's probably under new terms.
Yeah.
He might be getting more money.
It's like it's like this, Six. Let me play this out with you. So let's say we have a contract to where your contract's going to run out next February, and it's just going to run out. There's no extensions or nothing. I said, Six, you're doing such a great job. Guess what? We want to renew your contract in July. Here are the new terms, and we want you to get to work on things that we would otherwise talk about at the end of the year. Let's go.
So they're afraid that they might lose him if
no,
they don't
not
give him enough of a deal in order to stay.
Not necessarily.
Partially, but
I mean, maybe somewhere that's way down, but really this is about giving him authority and control. Because when you're an executive, it's all about authority and control. That's what it's about at the executive level.
He might even be getting some new autonomy.
Yep.
That means he may not. Yeah, that's what I mean. He might not have to go through so many hoops to fire somebody like Rice again. And I believe Stephanie's right. Chapek was already looking at a deal when he fired Rice. I'm sure this was already on the table because they weren't going to let him get rid of somebody like Rice unless they knew that this was the direction they were going. And clearly, that was probably part of his deal. He wanted to get rid of the guy because he's the one causing the problems and he's the one who has designs on his job. So for a number of reasons, but that's the only reason I could think of, unless anybody else has anything to add to that. I mean, that's the best answer I got for that too.
I just hope that obviously with Peter Rice, do we have a replacement for Peter Rice? Because if what Bob Chapek is doing, removing Rice on
what's her name? Waldron?
Waldron, yeah.
No, what's she like?
And her contract is up soon, isn't it?
She's malleable. I'll put it that way. she does whatever the popular opinion is. In this case, whatever Chapek wants, she's going to be on board with.
Well, if not, she's got. I was going to say she's got X amount of time on her contract left to prove to Chapek she's going to be loyal to him in the company, basically. Yep. And I'm still not convinced that she wasn't the one who probably ratted out Rice.
I'm convinced 100% that she's absolutely the one who took him out and helped Bob Chapek take him out.
Probably. Because it's like Game of Thrones. You got to think of it that way. It's like you got people who are playing each other in the background, and she was probably playing nicey to Peter Rice, and he's like, "Yeah, I want to be the head."
Peter, your agenda's just amazing. Meanwhile, she's like, "Bob, can you and I talk? I mean, I'm seeing some troubling things coming out of Mr. Rice's office."
Pretty much, that's what I think happened. Valiant, I thought I sent you the link, buddy.
He said he was going to show up soon. I saw he posted.
So I know he'd want to say something about this. And Klobby appears to be having some internet difficulties, so hopefully, if he gets a chance, he can hop in here. But yeah, Steph, I think you're right. I think he knew about this deal prior to that. And we got the boys of Echo Base, who I also sent the link if they're not busy. It says, can someone explain that if Bob's extension means trouble for KK's job, but she is just a mouthpiece and has no power, then how would firing her change anything? Asking for a friend that watches other content creators. LOL.
I don't know what he's at. I don't think I understand the question.
I kind of think he can't. Well, here's the thing. Rice is like one of those situations like KK. You just can't fire her without getting clearance. And at this point, they're probably just going to wait her contract out. And the bigger problem inside Lucasfilm is Pablo Hidalgo. I'm almost convinced of that right now.
Well, he's head of the story group.
Yeah, exactly. Everything has to go through him. And if you've noticed, Mandalorian being something that wasn't as lore heavy or canon heavy, pretty decent show. But anything else since then that's had to deal with Pablo Hidalgo and get his clearance, we've had issues with. So we'll see how these things go and how deep Bob has to go to fix those issues. But I'm sure Star Wars is one of the things that's on his agenda. And don't think he hasn't noticed Marvel taking a bit of a nosedive. And this Pixar thing, I'm almost convinced that Lightyear failing is what clenched him getting this deal. To be honest with you,
I suggested it. That's exactly what it is. It's like because who do you think is probably involved in some of the Lightyear decisions? I would not be surprised if Peter Rice was there, dictating some input with regards to Lightyear. I would not be surprised.
And I think that's why they didn't like turn around and just cut the kiss out for the other countries. Like Bob was probably like, no, we're gonna leave it in. We'll see what happens. We're gonna stick to your guns and look what happens. We also have joining us, speaking of Echo Base Network, right now, Nick.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
How you been?
Good. Just got done mowing the yard. Saw you guys were live on the subject, so I was like, hell,
you kind of have a Star Wars channel.
Yeah. We're
for the time being.
Yeah, we're starting to slowly move away from the Star Wars stuff because it's just abysmal. Kenobi was, what a shit show.
I wanted to like it, but yeah.
It broke so much canon left and right and just made no sense. And it was just one stupid thing after another. But my question on the super chat was basically like if KK is just a mouthpiece and has no real power there, and her job's now in trouble because his contract extension, what is firing her going to do if she doesn't have any power there?
I don't understand I don't think I understand your question though. What do you mean? I mean, why does KK even matter?
No. I'm saying because apparently her this extension means trouble for her job.
Why?
Because I guess he's about to go on a firing spree or something.
Why would he fire her? And why would it matter even if he did?
Mike, I don't know. I'm just asking questions. This is just stuff I hear about.
Well, as far as that goes, I think she's going to retire the next year or two anyway. I think as soon as Indiana Jones is done.
The only sort of problem that KK poses with regards to the franchise is that so long as she's there, the story group that she appointed will be there as well. And if she doesn't really have power, if she is, say, a mouthpiece or a figurehead, her position gives her the power to keep the people she's appointed employed. And that's kind of it. She doesn't get her hands dirty directly, so to speak. She's like the Emperor. She's got Pablo Hidalgo, who's Vader, and then you've got the Stormtroopers and the Imperial Guards, which are the story group. They're the ones that are actually getting in there knee deep, doing all the stuff at their behest. Because again, people of a certain status don't concern themselves with the plebs or the feeble rebels. So they'll only interrogate a rebel if that rebel's important to what they want and get. They're not going to be lighting up their lightsaber and chopping down rebels in hallways because that's beneath them. They have people in white uniforms to do that. And same with this, and that's the story group. So if you want to get rid of the story group, you've got to go up the food chain. But at this point, there's other priorities that take precedent right now. The biggest moneymaker under Disney is Marvel, and it's not delivering. So that's going to be priority one. And then after that, it's going to be Star Wars because there is a sizable percentage of fans that will just take any Star Wars content regardless of the quality, and they can rely on that for a while. But with Marvel having Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness being out for 8 weeks and not crossing that $1 billion mark. That's a big panic mode for them.
Let me maybe this will help. The way, because we already know it's been pretty much confirmed that Favreau and Filoni are the ones who are kind of controlling the story direction behind the scenes. We've already been told that they were the ones that nixed the original Obi-Wan scripts because they were too much like Mandalorian, they discovered. So
the second set of strips.
Well, yeah, that's debatable. But, so they're the ones that are in at the ground level. And I think we're starting to see Favreau getting stretched too thin. And he's not the kind of guy like Feige who has that kind of...
Nope.
He's a creative. He's got to be intimately involved with what he's doing. And the other part, too, is once you get rid of the story group and once you get rid of Kathy, whether she retires or what have you, the next culprit is Filoni, because he's the one that he has his own individual agenda that's not about Star Wars. It's about what he's doing for Star Wars.
Because we learned in that third...
In the business world, the difference is this. Filoni is that chef that can put together a great meal and a great dinner party, but he's going to be chef of that one restaurant that you probably like, but he's not the guy that's going to be able to open up a national chain. He's not. He does not have the skill set.
He has one signature dish that people enjoy, but when you use it in other ensembles, it's bitter and it doesn't complement anything.
Well, here's the thing: is he has his own motives, and that's just it. And we know from the recent interview with Kathleen Kennedy, from the third version of the story now of how Mandalorian came to be, she now says that she sent Filoni as her go-to guy to work with Favreau and play nice.
Well,
that
she suggested
word for
Favreau
word, but
to reach out to Filoni, and then at the same time told Filoni, "Hey, this guy's coming out here. Help him and make him do what we're doing." And that's it.
Oh, we got Gary in the house. How you doing, Gary
Filoni
Ambrosia?
is Grand Admiral Thrawn, if you want to go into the archetype of things.
And also in the house, we have Valiant Renegade. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm sorry, I was like, I was actually, I sent a couple of super chats in. I was recording with WDW Pro on this very topic.
I lost his freaking email, so if you can send that to me, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I was going to try and get him on for tonight, but yeah.
Well, he wouldn't have come because he was recording with me.
It was too late. I couldn't get a hold of him. So this all kind of came crashing down, as you see, at 1:30 this afternoon.
Well, 1:30 Pacific time. Yeah, I was closing out shop for the day, and I saw this, and I'm like, oh my god. So I've only got about 10 minutes or so here, but I did want to pop by. But yeah, I mean, it's no surprise to me. I mean, this is where this was going, and I think there was some. I think the lowest projection I got was 50-50 on his renewal, and that was right at the height of all of that crap. That came out March when all the stupid went down at Disney.
Oh, with the Reedy Creek and the bills and all that.
Yeah. But I mean, behind the scenes, I kept reminding everybody, go back and read what Chapek said when all of it started. That was more of the real Chapek. The real Chapek was bring Disney back to the center, get out of politics. Hey, look. We love our employees. We respect all of their personal lifestyles and all this kind of stuff. That's great. We'll support them 100%. But Disney is not going to get involved in politics. I'm paraphrasing, but not by much. And that is what Chapek is. That is the guy he is. And after that, the cabal, or at least some of the cabal, the most vocal cabal inside Disney that was there. Planted by Robert Iger in his last several years of service, are the ones that basically, threw him under the bus, took him to task, forced him into that hostage video crap. And then I noticed that since that time, the last couple of months, all those people over there at Disney, all the crazies, have been real freaking quiet. Like all the Disney walkout stuff disappeared off Twitter overnight. And it was stunning. It was something that should not have gone unnoticed. And all that crap just went to pot real fast. And I started thinking that, okay, something's going on. And Lightyear comes out and it tanks. And I even said this on my stream Sunday night. I said, look, this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but that crash of Lightyear was something of a backhanded feather in Chapek's cap, because when Pixar came out and admitted publicly to Variety magazine that, and I'm quoting, all of our attempts at overtly gay affection have been rejected when it got to Disney executives. Well, there's only 3 Disney executives above Pixar. There's Alan Bergman, who's the chairman of Walt Disney Studios that oversees Marvel, Lucasfilm, Disney Animation, Pixar, Fox, etc. There's Kareem Daniel, who is the head honcho, who is a total Chapek acolyte that oversees all of Disney distribution for that content. And there's Chapek himself. So they were calling out very specific people, okay, in the corporate hierarchy. And then it was okay, we'll put the stuff back into Lightyear. We'll put it back in. And then Lightyear gets to the box office and collapses. The worst Pixar film performance at the box office, I think, ever. Not even having to adjust for inflation. It's abysmal. And it's just, that was, I think, that was the call sign right there. And when the Peter Rice thing happened, that was clearly approved by the board, and I kept telling people, look, there's no way that you can can a guy like Peter Rice with an 8-figure payout, okay, that's 10 million plus, without executive committee approval from the board, because that executive committee is the one that grades and offers compensation to those executives. That executive committee is Bob Chapek and Susan Arnold. So the chairman of the board had to approve that canning. And it wasn't just about him being a potential Chapek replacement. Hollywood hates Chapek. That hasn't changed. Hollywood hated the fact with a passion that Peter Rice got fired. And they hate Chapek for being renewed today even more. That's the bottom line.
Oh yeah, you can. This article is so full of salt. I'm actually glad, because I had the Deadline article, I think, originally, and Six said, "You sure you don't want the Variety one?" And I'm glad she said that, because.
Well, okay, so I'll give you a little tip off.
This one has so much salt in it. It's like, it's not even funny.
That's one of the things. The article you have up. This is what we're going to talk about tomorrow in the video that we recorded tonight.
Yeah.
With WDW Pro, and that was the Variety article and the Deadline article. Lots of salt. Variety more so than Deadline.
Yeah.
Go read the one from Hollywood Reporter. It's much more pragmatic.
Well, and that Hollywood Reporter's been the one that's seemingly been more on Chapek's, I wouldn't say on Chapek's side, but they've...
Exactly. That's the point.
They've been more fair and neutral, let's say.
Yeah, and that's just it. I mean, they're not happy. So for all the people, oh well, Chapek bent the knee, and Chapek's just as bad. And I'm like, well, if that was true, I understand the frustration, especially when he made the hostage video. But I think that leak from Christopher Rufo put a boatload of 50 caliber ammunition in his pocket. And with the failure of Lightyear, he got to go back to the board this week at this retreat and go, I told you so. I mean that's what's going on here. This is corporate politics. And like I've said for a while, and people like Script know this very well, the stuff you're seeing from Disney right now is stuff that was greenlit, written, and off to the races years ago.
Between 2 and 3 years ago. And that's why I think I said it about 2 years ago that 2024 is going to be the year where things change. And I'm pretty sure if Chapek and Disney and other studios follow suit with a direction of staying out of the political conversation and trying to actually, elevate the material that they're assigning out there to make it the best it possibly can be, Hollywood is going to love Chapek by 2024. And probably Zaslav and a couple of other people that have come in and decided to go in a direction that's more business oriented and more symbiotic with the creative process than what has been happening over the last 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, and I agree with your assessment completely, Script, especially with the time frame 24, 25. Because
not only that, I mean, this is beyond just Star Wars being destroyed. Way beyond Marvel just becoming the MCU. With Pixar in the state that it's in, like Disney as a whole, they like that whole don't say gay protest walkout thing, all that whole thing destroyed Disney's image.
You mean the one guy in Florida with the big Sharpie marker at the gates didn't work?
I mean, there's that, but think of it this way. Paramount, a studio that has been struggling for a while, just broke this year with $1 billion worldwide on Top Gun Maverick.
And Sony's been doing it Sony's been killing it for the last couple of years with one of the worst fucking presidents ever.
Yeah.
Valiant's not joking. I just read this Hollywood Reporter. It is short, sweet, factual, and well written.
Yeah.
Damn. It is completely different.
It doesn't go into the, it doesn't use words like the blunder, the huge missteps, the fumbling, and all this other language to describe Chapek and all that. It just says, this happened, this happened, this happened, and now this happened.
Well, I don't know if you heard because you were probably busy when we did. Like I said before you got in here, I'm like, this whole article reads like, oh, we just can't. We don't understand how the hell this doesn't make no sense. It's just like the salt. It's seething it. It's like because they're like, they have no clue how this fucking happened. Right?
Yeah, and exactly. And we even cited some articles in the video for tomorrow morning that'll get released with the Pro. Some of the stuff from Matthew Baloney from Puck. Back when Peter Rice was fired, some of the language, and look, I got a lot of mad respect for Matt Baloney because the man obviously has legit connections. He was the former editor of the Hollywood Reporter. I mean, this is the guy that a few weeks ago did a fun piece that I read when all the rumors were going around when Alan Horn returned to Warner Brothers. And in Puck's article, he started off with acknowledging the rumors going around, and then he says very casually in the article, so I wanted to get from the source himself, so I picked up the phone and I called Alan and we went and had coffee. So the guy, I mean, I don't, probably 90% of the stuff that Matthew Baloney might be politically espoused to, he and I might disagree on that. But again, from a business perspective, ton of respect for the guy and his connections. And I listen and I read what he puts out there because I know what he's saying, at least from the information he's providing in terms of, I heard this, I heard that, is probably all very legit. Now, I may disagree with his editorializing of some of the information, and that's fine. But, this is why, I try to put things through the business lens and take all of the emotion out of it and look at it from that end. But when he put those articles out about Peter Rice and stuff like that, and Dylan Byers also over there at Puck as well, it was very, I believe totally that they're speaking for Disney, or excuse me, speaking for Hollywood when it comes to their attitude towards Disney, in the sense that they all were surprised when Bob Chapek got named as CEO. They were all stunned when Peter Rice got fired. They all hated it. I mean, Hollywood does not like what Chapek has done. They keep bringing up the Scarlett Johansson thing.
That's what I'm saying. And that's I mean, that's bullshit. Because if anything, that was more on Iger, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's the point. It's like people need to sit back and go, okay, well, Chapek is, they're nickel and diming.
And that was Lord coming in and making an ass of himself.
Yeah, I mean, Chapek might be nickel and diming people in the parks to death, but the problem is that people keep showing up to the parks and paying it.
Well, that's the thing. Yes, he's a profit margin guy.
He is. And
that's not going to be real great in the service industry or the park industry, but when it comes to this kind of shit with the stuff we're facing right now, like Andre and I have said this time and time again, he may not be the kind of guy you want when your company's running smooth. But when you're doing what you've been doing for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and you're in the state that you're in now, this is exactly the guy you want. Because he's gonna look at that bottom line, and that's all that matters to him.
When there's problems on the board, you want the accountant to come in and clean house.
Yes, Mike, exactly. I was going to say, in the financial world, we refer to this as a turnaround CEO.
Yep.
And yeah, Mecca J here says, hey, Variety, would you like some fries with that salt? Yeah.
Indeed.
I would have liked great news for me because accountants love me. I've dated 2 of them.
We got some more super chats we're going to get to here. Go ahead, Nick.
I was just going to say, I would have liked to have been a fly in the room with Chapek in these meetings when he's talking about or hearing about, movie theaters having to put warning labels up for parents on the Lightyear movie at the theaters. It's like, what are you people doing? Are you trying to run this company into the ground?
I pretty much have a good idea of what he said.
Yeah.
I fucking knew it! Oh!
I haven't seen that in a while. I was kind of waiting for that. Listen, guys, I'm sorry. I have got to run.
Love you, VR.
Yeah, I'm sorry I had to kind of like just fly in, fly out, but I had to come say hi to all my buddies here.
No, it's no problem, and yeah, we definitely got to do something with WD soon here. Maybe if he's not busy, hit me up and see if he's not busy tomorrow. He can hop on the morning show with us. That'd be great.
During the day for him is rough. I will just tell you that. He is a busy son bitch. But definitely, I'll put it this way: if he can squirrel the time out at some point when y'all are doing a live meet or a live Midnight's Edge show, I know he would be more than happy to come on.
Well, we got the typical morning show tomorrow, and I know Andre is going to be wanting to talk about this. So, I like I said, I lost his email. He gave it to me the other night, and I misplaced it here somewhere. So
I will shoot it to you. So
sounds good.
Take care, guys. I'll be listening, but I just can't be on anymore. So take care. Good to see y'all.
All right, see you, Valiant.
Yeah, he can't be seen with the pleb.
Don't start.
Well, I remember when
he didn't deny it.
His best like, don't say that publicly.
Yeah,
right, I'm out.
So I'm wondering. Okay, so Valiant brought up a good point about a lot of the, let's just say, the activists being very quiet in the last few months, and that is I'm glad he brought that up because that brings me to wondering. So, at what point in time can Chapek, if all this is actually looking good, let's just say if it actually does, when are the celebrities who are working under Disney movies going to shut up and stop making everything about their activism? Right? Or is that? Well,
they've been doing that for decades, anyways. I mean, that's.
Well, it's really amplified in the last what? 6,
basically,
years?
Nick. What it will take is because they have already in the contracts, like we've talked about this before. Yeah. Like there's already in the contracts to where what would you call it, like
morality clause.
Morality clause. So like sooner or later they're going to be like, oh, you're out there talking about this and that and the other woke thing. Well, that's not going along with Disney policy. Adios. And before long, people will start to realize, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't go out there and fight for, whatever stupid woke idea that we're fighting for. And I'm talking about the excessive shit, obviously, that I don't even really want to say too much about, like, the gender stuff for kids and all that kind of stuff that they've been dealing with.
What I'm trying to get. I'm not talking about like Hollywood in general, because I'm talking about more so specifically Disney in general, obviously. Hopefully that came across, but it's because this has been heavily amplified because yes, the actors have to some degree have had political slants and preachings and activism that they're pushing throughout the years. That is very obvious. But as far as having Disney involved in it, this is nothing like we've ever seen.
Well, like I said, he's got to fix their image now. Disney's image has been tarnished beyond anything that you could have ever imagined. Of all the stupid, urban legends about Disney throughout the years and all this other shit, this is finally like something that they can't just shake off and ignore. You have, some pretty bad shit now. You have people that are fighting for things that are dangerous to children according to parents, right? Yes. I'll put it to you that way.
Yes.
And when you have a company that's known for being the most trustworthy family company in the world, and has been for the better part of almost a century now.
Yeah. Well, not almost a century, but mostly have been
like 70 some years or whatever it's been around, 60 some years more than that. That's the thing is Disney has always had this trusted image that they have completely lost now with over half of their fucking audience. And there's other people in the middle who are just starting to come around to this stuff. Like they're not going to sit by for too much longer, but we got to get to these super chats here. You guys have been so patient and generous. Thank you so much. Dash Dax says, I'm late to the party. Is Bob pulling a Netflix on Disney? I take back about all the no testicle jokes I made about him. Well, we have yet to see, but I think that's probable. I think we're going to see some house cleaning. I don't think that he's going to sit for too long and idle. Valiant Renegade says, we'll try and stop it. Well, we got him here already. Just finished recording this subject with WW Pro. What Mike said is correct. Yes, we got to hear Valiant chime in as well. And thank you for hopping in here, Valiant. We appreciate that. Let's see here. We've got Lord Kamina, too, who says, I'm an executive and you will respect my daughter. Well, he hasn't been able to really Be in Command with Iger reinserting himself. So now we get to finally see what he can do. We'll see if he's actually going to make some changes. Just Nova says, I think Chapek won't fight against the grain and the majority of the activists who are actually making the movies and shows. He kind of did to begin with, and that's why he's getting so much pushback from inside, right? Like that was the whole thing we were reporting on months ago, is when he first finally got to be in command. He made the creatives and the studio heads answer to the merchandising and the distribution department, and what that means is they had to account for the losses, and that was not something they wanted to do. They wanted to be able to continue to make this woke shit and let Disney foot the bill along with whatever activists are inserting money. But like we've learned with Top Gun and some other movies recently, there's a lot more money in just giving the audience what they want, right? For some reason, we've never been in this place before where in history where the companies have been like this. And it's funny because I seen, I can't remember who was, somebody was Wizarding World or something like that was calling out Hasbro and pissing and moaning about something or other. And Quarter Black Garrett called him out, and I'm like, you know what? Just let him fucking fight. They've got it.
Well, again, Tom, you got to remember, it's not what customers want; it's what they need. Nobody wanted Top Gun Maverick, but we got it and we needed it. That's the thing you have to remember. What customers want sometimes isn't going to be what's satisfying for them. You have to look beneath the wants. Like, what are they really asking for when they say, I want? Because they're saying, I want a great movie that I can take my kids to. Well, guess what? That is an easy want. So now you have to make sure that you can fulfill that need and not just say, oh, I want a character that's, trans or whatever. Like that's not really a want. That's mostly a want, but nobody really needs that in some regards. At least not an audience enough willing to pay for it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
You have to reconcile that, because if you stick to the dictate of only what people want, then you're basically just matching the specifics of what they're calling out, and you're not actually fulfilling what is driving those specifics. And that's what you need to do. You have to figure out what's driving the specifics and fulfill that in your storytelling, in your marketing, in anything that you make. Like, nobody needed a CD player in the 80s when CDs were like a new thing. They had to make you need the CD player, because it's like, yeah, you can put way more music on both sides of the CD than you can on a cassette tape. And it's like, wow, I need that because I need to not have to keep switching out cassette tapes or rewinding them and stuff. That's kind of the perspective you have to go when you're.
No, you're 100% correct, and you're right. And thank you, Ironcaster. This is who it was. Wizards, whatever of the Coast, got upset that Hasbro, the parent company, has not given a statement about Roe decision from Friday yet. And yeah, Quarter Black Garrett, I think it was, said something about this, and I'm like, fuck it, let them fight. Let them. I'm gonna sit back and grab some popcorn and watch what happens, because this is gonna be hilarious. Let them infight. That's even funnier to me, because then it's like we really know we've hit the final right? Because at that point, when companies are fighting within themselves, that's when we know that's time's up. The real time's up. Valiant Renegade says, yeah, when Rice got fired, Chapek's renewal was already a done deal. Rice's firing was sanctioned by the board. I almost think it was like a prize or a signing bonus. Mecha J is interested in Cameron Pasha's thoughts are in this announcement. Well, I'm sure you could find out on his Patreon. Mikey stepped away. He's usually keeping up with Cameron Pasha's Patreon. That's a mouthful. But I have not been able to check it out yet, so I can't tell you, but I recommend you do that. And as I said before, we got Gary Ambrosia in the house. How you doing, buddy? Hopefully you're feeling better. Glad to see you here. Been a while. We got Rave Girl in the house who says, hi all, the vote for Chapek's extension was unanimous. That is correct. He has to make a serious moves after the Lightyear flop. They need to stop the bleeding. Yes, I agree. That's kind of what I think that they were doing here, is they're making a move to give him the power to do what he needs to do. Nikki D says, what do you make of the box office pro lowering their projections for Thor 4? Ooh, how do they come up with their numbers? Good question. The best way is they go through various aggregators via online, via polls.
Well, they track how many people are going to the theaters in general, and then they compare that with the last release, then the current brand of things. Because with Marvel being the sub brand up under Disney, they would have to say, okay, well, how many people will go to a Marvel film? What were the average patrons of Marvel films over the past 6 months?
Yeah.
So they'd factor in Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Doctor Strange. They get a number from that, and then they compare that against Thor Ragnarok, and then they would also compare. Then they get all those numbers together. They then take a look. Okay, it's been the first 6 months of the year. What's the average percentage of moviegoers going? How many do they overlap? And then they extrapolate a projection from there.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. They get a bunch of aggregate numbers together and spit out some shit at the end. And then they change it 3 times before the weekend. Because a lot of factors go into it all. And I think a part of it that could be affecting it is what all the things that Script said most of all is the last few films outside of Spider-Man No Way Home have not performed up to expectations.
Nope.
So because of that, the projections for this are going to be lowered, and they might even be lowered again before the weekend, depending on how sales go into the weekend. And they're also observing like online traffic and all that kind of stuff, and to try and gauge the interest in it. And they put those factors in. Things like this here are a factor in it. I know this is a question that was brought up before, but this is not something that's going to affect the normies. Like the normies aren't going to hear Bob Chapek got renewed. Well, I definitely am going to see Thor 4 now.
No,
like they don't
right.
give a fuck. They have no idea who the hell Bob Chapek is.
No.
So no, this is more of an industry thing. This is a signal. This is a message. Because this is, as we noticed, like when Kathleen Kennedy would get her silent renewals, they wouldn't give her a big to-do like this. This is the things we're talking about when they make a big to-do in the papers. Right, kids? So there you go. But moving on here, Troy Pacelli says, as of right now, we are increasing our support for the LGBTQ advocacy group to combat similar legislation in other states. Statement is still up. This is still their official statement.
And they will be for quite some time.
Probably. Disney has always been at the forefront of some of that shit anyway, but what they do within the company and what they put out are 2 different things sometimes too. So we'll see how this rolls in the next few weeks. Rice's firing, though, is a big deal. And it all depends. Like, there's a hierarchy to things, and we don't know who's in charge of what as far as, like, the social media stuff. So it could come down sooner than you think, or it might not come down like Script said either. Just, we'll see how it rolls. We got Dave Bob, who's a new member. Welcome to the club. Let's see here. What were you at? I think you were a minimum effort puppy, weren't you? Remember right?
Yeah, he's minimum.
Okay. Thank you. We got that's a maximum effort. I hit the wrong one. Here's the minimum effort puppy. There we go. Everybody's favorite anyway. Thank you, Dave Bob, for that. Speaking of members, Mr. Buttcrack Media has been a member for 2 months as a minimum effort puppy level as well. And also Electric Barbarella is a new member. And that is at, let's see here. Which level was that? 6, do you remember?
Maximum.
Oh, maximum. So we're going to give you a maximum effort puppy. There you go. Thank you so much for that. And then House of Atreides comes in with a super chat and says, Hail panel, I've been hearing more people saying that we'll never get good Star Wars again and Kenobi is good enough. To me, that's saying KK wins. Are they brainwashed Stockholm? Can't they see Kenobi is TLG 2.0? Well, this is a very nuanced and difficult conversation to have because there's even people within our own fellowship who did enjoy Kenobi. And I'm not going to try and say that they're dumb or stupid for enjoying it. But at the same time, as far as the Stockholm Syndrome thing, I don't know if it's necessarily that, but I would think there's something to the fact that they want to see Obi-Wan Kenobi. They want to see Darth Vader. We want to see these characters. And some people can overlook issues just to try and get past them to try and enjoy some things sometimes, right? Like, it's no different.
Me and my sister got in an absolute argument for 45 minutes the other day.
I was gonna say, it's like eating your Brussels sprouts so you can get to the good stuff, right? To some people can do that, but to some people they look at what?
Well, where's the good stuff?
I was just gonna say, but to some people, Kenobi was nothing but a plate full of Brussels sprouts.
Normies, I think we also have to think too. Like normies eat up these things a lot easier than the fanboys do. Like normies will just say, "Hey, look, Obi-Wan. Hey, look, Darth Vader." Ooh, ah. They're not gonna put context into perspective. They're not put continuity into thought. most of them don't. They're just fans because it's
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I don't want to make it sound like people are stupid. It's just that they're not as deep as into the canon,
and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with
so like
being
it's a little.
normie.
It's the same reason why I love when you and Klobby are on here and I don't know something about comics because I can swing to you guys and ask, right? And
yeah,
and like Nick or Six would know a hell of a lot more about certain EU things or other Star Wars things than I would in that respect. But I'd probably be the one that you guys would ask about Ninja Turtles. So that's the beauty of that part. But some fans just there's that, and I hate putting it this way, that they'll eat just about anything up that has a logo on it and go, good, give me some more, no matter what it is inside that package, because they have this fear that if they don't, they're going to be labeled not a fan, or they're not going to get more of said thing or whatever. And that's that was the thing we kept hearing with Star Trek, was like, if you don't watch Discovery, we're not going to get any more Star Trek.
That's my sister.
Is that what she says? Okay.
It's exactly what you said. We got to, Tom, I literally hung up on her and she had to call me back.
You hung up on your sister.
Dude, I asked her point blank. I'm like, you and I both know this series sucked and the finale sucked. I said, you and I both know it did. And she says, look, and then she said exactly what you just said, Tom, almost verbatim. She said, and I quote, if I don't watch this, then I don't know if I'm going to get any Star Wars, even if it's not the best Star Wars I hope for. At least I'm getting some Star Wars today.
Well, and you should have.
That's low expectations.
You should just
have nothing.
Mikey, you've been listening to me long enough.
That was like my sister stabbing me with a lightsaber that actually.
I understand, Mikey, but you still shouldn't hang up on your sister. It's your sister, but unless she's being a total douche. But still, the point is. You should have just said, you've listened to me long enough, man. You should have said to her, yeah, I remember that time they closed down McDonald's because the McLean failed. And shit, I can't get a Coke anymore because new Coke killed Coke. You just got to remind people that. So go ahead, Six.
My very nearest and dearest Star Wars friend, I've known him for 20 years. He is the biggest Star Wars fan I know. He knows everything about Star Wars. He was just like us in hating the Disney trilogy BS, and he and I see eye to eye with everything. He is a big fan of Kenobi, and so I disagree with what you said or somebody said, maybe I saw it in chat, about somebody who isn't familiar with canon, because he could blow all of us together out of the water regarding canon. But to be honest, I haven't really gotten into that deep of a discussion with him about why he loves it, because I'm afraid it might be a little bit contentious, because I don't want to put him on the defensive. But, it can come down to people just have different tastes.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily that people don't know the canon, and when you said script about, well, what's the good stuff, seeing Qui-Gon, spoiler, sorry, that was the good stuff for me for maybe 2 seconds, and then
there was maybe a few good scenes here and there in the show.
Yeah,
I will
there were a few where I was like, and then it kind of came crashing back down to me, but it was 99.9% crap. But I just have to stick up for the.
It sounds kind of like you're describing someone who's choking you, and then their hand get tired. They gave you gasp of air, and then went back to choking you.
I just got 2 quick points.
Some people dig that though, script. Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
People are into that.
I was just gonna say, I compared the Kenobi show. A good comparison is like Las Vegas with all the shiny lights and bells and whistles and stuff. It's nice to look at. They got familiar things in there that people are familiar with, and that especially the prequel babies that we'll see and be like, oh my god, look, there's Qui-Gon, or look, Ewan's back, Hayden's back, but there's, for me, there's just no substance there. It's like baby food or breast milk, when me as a Star Wars fan, I need something with some more substance, and that was the one thing that I felt that the Kenobi show was lacking, was just substance.
Okay, no, Nick, I think you're onto something. I'm gonna do this by way of a food comparison. So out here, there's a fairly well-known Chicago burger chain called Portillo's. It sounds like you want a good, solid Portillo's burger, but instead you're being fed McDonald's from Lucasfilm.
Yeah, that'd be a good equivalent.
Well, we made that exact analogy. We even did a video on it. When we would be told, before they admitted that they were shoving their agenda in, they would just say, well, it's good. You're just racist and stuff like that. And it's like, well, you don't even know what's good for you, right? Like, so we'd make that analogy. It's like you go to a steakhouse and you order a steak and they bring you a fish and you're like, I didn't order a fish. I ordered a steak. It's like, yeah, but fish is good for you. It's like,
you're going to eat it and you're going to like it.
Exactly. You're going to eat it and you racist against fish? Yeah. And that's the response, right? And it's like I even got into that argument with what's his face, Jason Isaacs over Discovery. He's like, well, if you don't like your meal at a restaurant, you don't scream at the waiter, do you? I'm like, well, technically, yes, you do. You tell or you don't yell at the chef, do you? And it's like, yeah, you tell the waiter, and then the waiter goes tells the chef, and you're the chef or you're the waiter. God damn it, I fucked it up, but you know what I meant. And then he blocked me.
Oh, that idiot? Yeah. Well, he's a dirtbag anyway.
Because I called him a waiter. Probably, who knows? No, you're cool, Claudia. I figured you were having some issues, but I just mentioned you nonchalantly. But yeah, it's just kind of weird. And then you show up and we had 666 viewers.
I chased them all away.
No, it's just like, it was weird. It was like the devil inside.
See what you're saying about Star Wars, though. I feel the same way. I don't understand how anyone who loves Star Wars could accept such a horrible show as Kenobi, but they do, and you just, what do you do? Are you gonna change their mind somehow? You really aren't, and you coexist. Everyone has their own opinions. It's mind-boggling to me, but there are gonna be things in this universe I don't understand to the day I die, and that's the way it is.
Hey, there's people out there that like The Last Jedi, Clobby.
And that's and this is close to that. So yeah, I don't understand that either.
Yeah,
you're right.
When people are so used to being fed absolute shit for the last several years, they will cling on to any last bit. They're that much more desperate for something that's fairly good, and it's kind of like what people do. Not just Star Wars fans. This happens for all fandoms included, where there will be something that's not filled with a political agenda, they'll say, and they'll base their liking this based on that. It's like, yeah, just because it's still not filled with political agenda doesn't make it like good. Still, like, you can still not be woke or intersectional or full of feminism, but you could still have a bad unwatchable show. You could still have bad ride, but it just goes to show you how lesser of expectations a lot of people have grown themselves accustomed to. And it's sad because we're seeing that play out in almost every fandom. People are just ultimately settling, and that's not good, because when you settle, they take advantage of that, and they take advantage of that addiction of you settling. And they're like, okay, well, we know these people are just going to eat this up, so why are we aspiring to do more when they're eating this up, or at least the majority are eating up? And yeah, people are eating up Kenobi. Granted, there's still a chunky fan base that are like, no, this is trash, but I think they don't want those fans. They want the normies who are going to eat this up because it says Star Wars on it.
Well, they want very controversial the other day. I'm going to say it again.
Agreed.
I said something very controversial. I'm going to say it again. Without drastic change, I've already resigned the fact that in terms of both Star Trek and Star Wars, I will die before I see great Star Wars or Star Trek.
That's possible because they hoodwink you by basically having you try to compare the new thing to the most recent bad thing and saying, look, it's slightly better. It's like, it's still not the best. And the thing is, you're in the business to make stuff that's the best.
Yeah. And speaking of hoodwinking, is Robert Meyer Burnett trying to hoodwink everybody into Picard season 3?
He's trolling.
No,
I think he's being serious.
I've been hearing, and I kind of told people this before Strange New Worlds, that there was a bit of a shakeup, and now I've been hearing that this new showrunner on Picard, his first question is, why are we not getting any of the other cast members in here? And it was like, well, we're doing Picard, and Patrick Stewart wanted to be this and that and the other, and he's like, well, fuck that. Fans want the other characters, bring them in. So that's where they had this big announcement. So I'm not so sure that we should count it out yet, but I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, it's fucking amazing or it's going to be great. Because that's the problem I hear with Strange New Worlds, too, is everybody says, oh, it's good as long as you accept that it's prime canon and not canon.
And that's garbage, by the way.
Jim Cock liked the last episode.
He scared the hell out of me with that. Episode.
Well, a lot of people have actually been liking it, Clobby and Nick, so we'll see. But Dr. Dragon brings up a great point here. After Dark, I know you don't rain on people's enjoyment of shows, but I get tired of those that get pissed because of different opinion, calling others black pill because they didn't like Kenobi. Yeah, this is something we dealt with The Last Jedi, but I want to remind people in this actual fellowship, though, that that's what brought a lot of people here. is the fact that they were not being allowed to speak their minds about The Last Jedi without being called racist. So if somebody doesn't like something that you like, just keep that in mind. And remember, everybody has difference of opinion, and that's what we're about, is we're allowing everybody to have an opinion about something no matter what.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, that's what this whole thing was about from the very start.
Indeed.
As far as that whole thing goes. And we've got a new member with Monkey Jeebus. I couldn't find and see. Oh, he's a minimum effort puppy. So we got another minimum effort, but since we did that already, let's give him a lazy puppy. You get a full-on lazy puppy. That's a rare one. That's a rare one. So thank you for that, Monkey Jeebus. And speaking of members, we got Big Daddy MRI, who says, great discussions, great panel, hail chat, hail mods, and thank you, Tom. Well, thank you, Big Daddy MRI. I appreciate that. Let's see here. I did have another one from Dr. Dragon earlier who said, question to Mike. Are you here, Mike?
Yeah.
Mike, does this news about Chapek change your mind on the company, or does it stay the same until he gets rid of these activists in there? You've kind of addressed this, but I thought it was a good question, so
I think what Dr. Dragon's referring to is that I said something similar to that. Well, I said it earlier in the show. I think about the company burning off and failing and then having to sell assets in order to move forward. It's too soon to tell. I mean, he's got 3 years. You can get a lot done with the 3.5 years. I mean, with 3.5 years to go, you can get a lot of shit done. But this is a company that, this is a company right now that was built on families. And right now, if I go there with my 10-year-old, I don't hear welcome boys and girls. In fact, he and him and she and her is on a banned word list if you're an employee. I'm not going to Disney. I mean, this is literally a company that has to be put a termite fumigation tent of woke around it and gassed out, and everything that's woke needs to die. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I don't know. We got to see. But at least we got an accountant in charge. Hail the accountants. Go team accountants.
Indeed.
They have all the dominoes right in place for them to deliver stuff for families, and they're appeasing everyone else, that minuscule actual minority, even though they accuse all the Star Wars fans, the Marvel fans of being the vocal minority, yet they're the ones who are actually trying to please an actual minority. Like,
yeah.
There's got to be money that's being funneled somewhere that's keeping them going. Like,
well, it is. It's the outside interests. Well, it's outside interests that come in and stuff like that. Oh, as far as the stock shit, well, that's a whole nother. They're under investigation as far as the other stuff, but that's not to do with this part of it. Etienne Faladoro says, "Stop defending R&B. He has been compromised." You never know. I like R&B.
Is that show even? I mean, my thing is, he's being nebulous. Is that thing even? How could he have seen it? Is it finished already?
3?
Yeah. Yes. I mean,
I don't think he's seen it, but I can't.
That's what I'm saying.
I can't say much. I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. It technically is. Yes.
You can't say anything.
Okay.
Well, that I can say because they shot season 2 and 3 back to back.
Okay, so he's probably seen it then.
I don't think he's seen it, but.
Well, you can't say something that's good or bad unless you've seen it. Last I checked, right?
There's other ways of knowing things.
Okay, yeah, reading. I get you.
So we'll see. We'll see. I wish I could say more. But
I know. I hear you, man.
Next super chat.
No, I think that's it for the super chats. But we do got some more good news though. We got news of a new Ghostbusters movie. We get a sequel in 2023. The next Ghostbusters movie will hit theaters on December 20th, 2023. The sequel is a follow-up to director Jason Reitman's Ghostbusters Afterlife, which at long last revived the marquee franchise for Sony. The studio announced the high-profile 2023 release date on Tuesday. Earlier this month on Ghostbuster Day, Reitman and co-writer Gil Keenan confirmed that the end credits of Ghostbuster Afterlife hinted at that the live-action sequel will return to the original film's New York and firehouse setting. Ghostbusters Afterlife, which debuted in theaters in November of 2021, earned more than $200 million at the global box office despite the pandemic. In an interview with Hollywood Reporter prior to Ghostbusters Day, Reitman and Keenan teased details about the sequel. They said at the end of Ghostbusters Afterlife, the Ecto-1 is driving into Manhattan, returning to its home. Before anyone ever heard the title Afterlife, we called it Rust City. which would not have made sense to anyone until they saw the movie. The code for the next movie is Firehouse, Reitman said. Reitman made Ghostbusters Afterlife with his father, the late Ivan Reitman, who directed the original Ghostbusters film. The elderly Reitman passed away earlier this year. Afterlife reunited the original Ghostbusters stars, including Bill Murray. It is unknown if Murray was planned for a return, but that could prove potentially complicated. Murray was starring in Ansari's Searchlight film Being Mortal when it was shut down in April after studio. Well, you just had to bring that shit up. Who gives a fuck? He will be there.
He has to get a word count in. But the fact that they're going to be pushing for this for Christmas of next year, that's
They're
tight.
farther ahead than we thought. Probably that's why.
Oh, I would not be surprised if they were given the go ahead on the sequel after their first initial showing.
Well, here's something I do know. Script. They kind of knew they were getting a sequel around the time the movie came out because that scene with Ernie Hudson, I found out, was actually filmed like not too long before the movie came out.
Oh, the one in the firehouse or the one with Annie Potts?
The one with in the firehouse.
The firehouse that was supposed to be a Starbucks.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that's the set that's actually in L.A., like the internal.
Yeah, they did it in the L.A. set. Yep. The external is in New York. The internal is in L.A., yes.
Yeah,
in fact, they use that same set for the mask in Big Trouble in
Little
China.
China, yeah.
I think this is great news. Once again, this is something that Disney could be having opportunity for, having a big movie out that families want to see. And Sony's like, okay, you guys won't do it. We'll do it. Here's Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel, December 2023. And this is gonna do a lot better. Not just because it was well received opening weekend, but with kids being out of school and parents taking off of work. This is probably gonna be
holiday,
huge.
2 weeks off, and on top of that, it's like, what was it? 6 years, and we haven't gotten a sequel to the Ghostbusters Answer the Call in less than a year since this one comes out. We're already getting the sequel order. That's good. That's very good news with regards to the confidence of this film compared to.
Well, and I heard a lot of that had to do with, like I said, they got it pretty early on. They knew that it was going to make its money back, and the video did well, the and all that stuff. So, what were you going to say, Nick?
I was just saying plus some made their money back plus some.
There's two Nicks.
Right. I just want to throw in real quick, and I'll let other Nick go. They better make Hi-C Ecto Cooler a lot more accessible this time around. A lot more. I want my cans where the drink turns green, and I want that so bad. I had to order from Texas for when that terrible 2016 movie came out to get the aluminum. I shouldn't have to do that. I want to just go to like my local store and boom, right there.
Yeah. Dash Attack says maybe Ghostbusters 4 will take place at Christmas. It might. You never know. Christopher Vose says, my only concern is Ghostbusters 4, the kids will have aged significantly by the time they start filming this. I brought this up as they can use that as an advantage.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, because college years.
Exactly. Yeah,
going to MIT or at Columbia University or any one of those schools.
Yeah, you can have Phoebe in New York going to school. Yeah.
Yeah. Going to Columbia. My grandfather used to teach here. You know.
Yeah. And he got fired here too.
That's coming back.
And he got hired again and then tortured a marriage.
Yeah. Let's take away the puppy.
Marriage counseling.
Let's see what happens if we take away the puppy. That's still one of my favorite lines.
I think they're here for marriage counseling. I've been gradually increasing the temperature. It's like it's torture.
I'm testing the effect of aggression on what was it? Testing the effect of aggression on
physical environment. Actually,
physical environment. Yeah,
human interaction. Or no, the human interaction actually affects the physical environment. So he's saying the reverse of what he's actually doing. He's torturing them deliberately.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so dark and twisted, but
funny. I love Egon. I know that's why some of his best lines were cut out of the original movie, which sucks. All right, and we got oh my goodness, we have the boss man here. Howdy,
everyone.
Hey. You walked in during Ghostbusters news.
Yeah, well, it's brilliant. I've been busy with Chapek news myself, so that means that you'll be extra busy afterwards.
I noticed. It's not that I didn't have enough work already.
Yeah, I know. So thank you, Disney, for dropping this on us today. Couldn't have waited 2 days. Just 2 days. 2 days is all I asked, but no, that was too much.
No.
But anyway, yeah, that's how it is. How is everyone?
Doing good.
Hey there.
Doing
I was
great.
about to
Got a
ask
great show.
everybody what they thought of Afterlife, actually. I know
I
some of
loved
the people's answers, but yeah, we'll start with you, Nick. What did you think of Afterlife?
I loved it. I went and saw it the day or weekend one. I didn't go open tonight, but that Saturday I went and saw it, and I thought it was very well done. Was it perfect? Was there some stuff that I was like, yeah, but it was a hell of a lot better than what we got in 2016.
Yep.
6. Oh, she said be right back. That's right. We'll come back around to her. Nick Weiser.
So I saw Afterlife opening night with my girlfriend, and her and I both loved it. And I do acknowledge that it had its problems and it's plot armor and conveniences, but I still enjoyed the film a lot. Like I bought it right when it came on Blu-ray. Brought my kids to see it too. Both my girls loved it, and they're big fans of the first movie. So my two little girls love it. We have decorations of our home of Ghostbusters Afterlife stuff. So it's a Ghostbusters family, and they're excited. We're excited that there's gonna be a sequel coming, and you bet your asses we're gonna be seeing that shit like first screening that comes out in our local area. I'm stoked for this. I'm really stoked for this.
All right, script.
I unfortunately, because of the pandemic stipulations in Canada where I wasn't able to see it in theaters, but I managed to get a copy, and I even bought the Trap Deluxe 3 set of the film. It's a
Nice.
solid movie, and on top, the only issue really is pacing in that first act and a little bit into Act 2. That's the only real issue of the film, but it's very much a Jason Reitman film, and it's very much a movie that takes place in the Ghostbusters universe. And the fact that we're getting a sequel to it, or another entry into this universe, hopefully with the original cast, of course, minus Harold Ramis, and a bit more integration with that part of the world, the business aspect of the world, as opposed to just the villain exploration of the villain history. I look forward to seeing what they bring up with that, because man, it was such a charming and a great love letter, not just to the franchise, but to a lot of the people involved with that movie and what it meant to them.
Absolutely. Clobby.
I too loved it, and I went in with very, very low expectations, not expecting much, and it gave me something I never thought I would get out of Ghostbusters, because we all know there's really not going to, even if this sequel, this is a nice idea and everything, we're never going to get those characters back to the originals the way we want them. So I remember when I was watching the film for the first time at the theater the first day, about 3/4 in, when we got the scene toward the end, when we got to the farm, or back to the farm, I was starting to get nervous, like we weren't going to get what I wanted, because they really did make you hold out. And then that last, 20 minutes or so or whatever, I was almost moved to tears at that point. I got to see them one more time in some manner. I felt like a bit of closure, because I love the original film so much. To see them get a little something, just a few minutes of seeing these characters that we've loved so much. In 1984, I must have went 10, 15 times to see the film at the theater, the first one, and to get a little bit of closure out of them from this film. And for a while I was starting to think were we going to get cheated out of this, even though I was enjoying the film, don't get me wrong. And then we got to that scene when we finally get them all together. Man, it was rough, but in a good way. I love that.
Spoilers. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
it's been long enough. No, I'm glad to hear that. Mikey.
4 out of 4 stars, and I saw it twice. The second time I saw it in the theaters, I cried even more than the first time. And going in, I think I told you before
Yeah, you're not even a big Ghostbusters fan.
I'm not a big Ghostbusters fan, and that movie, what I love most about it is it got me ready to continue to see movies almost weekly, which is what I do. I see at least one movie in the.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah,
because 9 times out of 10, when I'm trying to get a hold of you, like, I'm going to a movie, or I'm just getting out of the movie.
Yeah, I love it.
No, you go to a lot of movies.
I still love it, if you were to go downstairs, if I had a camera right next to the left side of my 80-inch screen TV is that box set, and I love it.
Weird, mine too.
Sometimes I just open it up to see the light, even if I don't watch.
Weird, me too. Twinsies.
Really? Like sometimes I put it up. I'm like, oh, this is so cool, and I put it back. So
No, it's right to the left of my TV screen, right up against my PS5.
I love it. Yeah.
That Andre doesn't think exists. And speaking of Andre,
yeah,
real quick, what did you think of Ghostbusters Afterlife? And how
loved it.
excited
I
are you
thought
this
it
for the
was
news?
brilliant. I thought it was like a little bit of a cast on the young side, but they made it work, and I thought it was a brilliant movie. Very, very happy to see the franchise continue. I have to say, we've gotten a lot of good news recently, haven't we?
Today we have, and I know we're going to swing back around because we're definitely going to want to hear your response to the earlier news. But yeah, I too.
Quick because it's getting pretty late there, or early, depending on how you choose to look at it.
Yeah, I too am looking forward to this, and of course, everybody knows I love the film already. So the best part of this is I think we're going to get more of the original cast, and the best part about the original film is it didn't even need the original cast to make it good. I enjoyed the film for what it was. The original cast coming back was just icing on the cake, and in this instance now I think we're going to get a lot more Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson for sure, and probably Annie Potts as well. So yeah, but in the other news, as we started the show with, Andre, you've been bombarded with this Disney announcement, although we're not as surprised as some people seem to be.
Yeah, no, I would have been surprised if it didn't happen. I would have been shocked if it didn't happen. The moment when Peter Rice was fired, and the more I learn about him, what an utter piece of shit. I don't like to call people by names, but that's the best characteristic of that individual. But anyway, be that as it may, when he was fired and the whole board came out and they said that we stand behind Chapek on this, and they knew they were going to get fired from all of Hollywood. When the board was behind him on that, they're behind him on everything. Then they've seen the light. Then he's gonna get renewed. Now that doesn't mean that he has all power, but it means that he has more power than he did when the riots happened and the hostage video and all of those things. I mean, that happened because he didn't have the support of the board. Now he clearly has it. So then I'm excited to see what's going to happen, especially in light of Lightyear flopping as badly as it did. Because that's only going to further underline the point that Chapek has been trying to make, that they need to go back to politically neutral.
Yeah, Megawing Zero says, what is coming at Disney? Chapek is Omni-Man and the woke is the guardian of the globe. If you don't know, watch episode 1 of Invincible on Prime. Well, I would say that, or probably Game of Thrones to see a red wedding, you name it. Like, something's going to come down here. Peter Rice was just the first head to roll kind of thing. So yeah.
Peter Rice was boiled. That's what he was.
Yes, he was. So yeah. But yeah, interesting news to kick off the show with tonight, Andre. And, we all kind of knew that this was kind of in the wings, especially after the Peter Rice news. And I can't wait, and I mean that with all sarcasm, to start editing the video.
Yeah. Well, look on the bright side that you have something else to do before the next Conan video. But you also have the script.
How is that cheerful? The way Andre says it, it makes you like, oh, great. Wait, what?
He's like, when your parents used to try and make chores sound fun. We're going to do the dishes. No.
You got a bunch of laundry to do.
I'm going to teach you how to fold laundry. Oh, goody.
Actually, this is something that I think I learned from my 3rd grade math teacher.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, no, because she told me some very, very wise words. She said, "Oh, you think it's difficult now? You better learn to appreciate it because it's going to get much worse."
Yeah. I got told that by my parents and my teachers for a good 6 years straight.
That's very true.
Yeah, and they weren't lying.
No, they weren't, but because they taught me that stuff, things actually, when they got really tough, I knew what to do. So it eventually did become easier.
Yeah, I compare Andre. I don't know if he's seen. I doubt he's seen it, but some people may have in the chat. But Clerks, the animated series, when Randall's in the Temple of Doom episode, He's like, I'm tired. Can I take a break? You want break from breaking rocks? Here, you pull cart with teeth for break.
Exactly.
That's pretty much it. We got a couple. Go ahead.
Speaking of break, because although I like to keep Tom busy, I'm kind of busy myself as well. And now I've been up to it's 3 in the morning.
We got morning show too.
Yeah, and we have morning show, and I have to get up in 3 hours. So
lovely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, hopefully you can get a little bit of a nap in before the morning show. Otherwise,
yeah. Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah. But all right, thank you for hopping in, Andre. And with that, we're gonna get to these super chats.
All right,
I got to take a work call. I'll try to come back, but I got to pop out real quick.
No problem, Mike. No problem, Mike. We're just gonna get these super chats anyway, and probably wrap her up here soon. Anyhow, is Six back yet?
I think she's still. Yeah.
I think she's still gone. Okay. I think she's still that way. Douglas Nelson, still the best entertainment Disney delivers today is its own corporate soap opera.
Not wrong.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. Big Daddy MRI says everyone at Pixar better polish up their resumes. It will be coming down on them soon. Well, most of the best ones have left already.
Yeah.
But you're not wrong. They're probably, oh, shit.
And who are they going to get to replace those people? More activists? Or are they going to vet these people? Or, you know?
It'd be nice if they vetted them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's just it. That's part of the problem is it's a lot of the people that are still there are loyal to Iger. Like, I mean, we brought this up earlier, but like when the last few years he's been there, it was one thing. And then when he left and Chapek's been on his own for the last 6, 7, 8 months or whatever it is, a lot of these people have been going behind his back and complaining to Daddy Iger. And then Iger's been stirring up issues, I'm assuming with like the board and other people and stuff like that, and trying to insert himself and swing his dick around a little bit. And I think Chapek just finally had enough of it. And so I'm sure he's going to systematically go through and comb through and find out who is loyal to the cause and who's loyal to Iger. And those who are loyal to Iger are probably going to get in pink slips at this point, because you better change your loyalty pretty quick. And I don't think he's so much worried about them being loyal to him per se as they are just loyal to the company being profitable and fixing its image at this point. And that's going to be a huge hurdle, because it was already bad enough when Chapek was looking at having to fix Star Wars and Marvel and now Pixar. You know, the entire company's image is just completely burned to the ground. So they got to rebuild that from the bottom up. So I don't know if anybody has anything to add to that, but it'll be an interesting few months in the least to say. But yeah, but we got some heavy metal coming up here pretty soon, don't we, Nick?
Oh, you damn right we do. And I cannot wait to talk about this movie. This is going to be a very fun one to talk about, especially since we've never really done like animated movies to a Toxic Tuesday. And I feel like what better way to kick it off with an actually super toxic animated flick like Heavy Metal. I mean, this movie, like it is the embodiment of sex, drugs, and rock and roll personified in an animated flick. And if I recall, memory serves correctly, like, this is one of the first animated flicks that ever came out that was more catered towards adults. If, like I said, maybe not the first, but it was definitely one of them. If not, it was definitely popularized it. Maybe
it could technically probably be classified as the first major adult animated film, because like you had like Fritz the Cat and Ralph
like that, but
and Ralph Bakshi had done some other ones too before that, but no, this was like the first big studio release for a picture like this. And
so I'd say popularized is a more appropriate
it's
statement.
one I remind people though, and they're always like, oh, something is the first R-rated superhero movie, and they go, oh, you must have forgot about Blade. And then to those people I go, oh, well, you must have forgot about Heavy Metal and Barbarella and shit like that. So yeah, like there's other ones that came before. It's like, yeah, it's not a new thing. But no, the movie's amazing. I can't wait to talk about it with you guys. I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to stick in there, but I'm gonna hang in there because if I remember right, I was the one who suggested it to you. So.
Oh yeah, no, and I've been wanting to do it. It's just a matter of waiting for the right time, and we're in the transition of animation for the next few weeks, so it's gonna right. It's gonna be fun. These next handful of animated flicks that we're gonna do, it's gonna be fun.
I can't wait. let's say.
Oh, it's gonna be like hard, but not hard.
You said hard. Yeah. It's okay. We got white privilege. You didn't know.
We can't do anything to us. We're white. God, that was the greatest thing ever. Oh man, I'm woke up in the middle of the night laughing about that scene. I just can't stop. It's so
I know that's. Did we win? Not only did we win, Beavis, we kicked its ass.
We scored. We're gonna score.
Yeah.
Oh Lord,
that was great.
It's be fun.
I'm sorry if I hinted too hard there, but I know there's some things coming up.
Good, man.
Let's just say this is not the only animated film I think that's coming up.
No, it's next few weeks gonna be awesome, and there's gonna be more, and it's be fun because I picked some of the wildest animation flicks of the wildest bunch. So it's be fun. Please join us for heavy metal, and I'll see you guys all in an hour. It's gonna be amazing.
You got the link for that? I'll just throw it in the chat.
I think just threw it in the private chat.
Awesome.
You can mod me if you want.
I haven't yet. Okay, say hi, and I'll mod you.
All right, I'll mod.
Hi Sadie, I know it's time to go out. Here we go. All right, add moderator. Boom.
Yes.
Boom, baby. Oh, we got Chris Persian in the house. I ain't seen you in a while, buddy. How you been?
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Chris Persian in the house.
I want to thank everybody. We had a hell of a crowd here tonight. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. And here's the link to head on over and park up at Nick's house. We're going to be over there talking some heavy metal. And how long here? About
an hour.
About an hour, roughly?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Sadie, in about an hour, 60 minutes. That's right.
I was like, is somebody's stomach growling?
No, that's my dog telling me it's time to go out. She's like, no, you've had enough time. Quit talking to your friends. But Nick, thanks for hopping in here, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. It's always a pleasure jumping in here with you guys.
Anything you guys got coming up you want to plug, or?
Still working on our next feature film documentary, The Rise and Fall of LucasArts Gaming. I'm lining up a couple more people that's going to be involved, and then we're going to start scheduling recording times. Hopefully I can get all the recording and the editing done and release this thing end of this year, first of next year, but it's just been a long, slow process. That's really the main thing we got going on. Other than that, we're just I'm taking Coach through Deep Space Nine, doing reaction videos with him. We're getting ready to start season 2 because he's never seen Deep Space Nine. And we're just going to start covering, of course, Star Wars content like we always do, but we're actually going to start covering other things because Star Wars just sucks right now.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Yeah, and Floral, sorry, we actually started on time tonight. That's what happens. We didn't have a shit ton of stories. We had a big story to start off with, though. Six, are you back yet?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, there you are. You're back. Well, we didn't get to ask you about Ghostbusters. So, what did you like Ghostbusters Afterlife?
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was probably the best film I saw last year. I would say it's actually better than Top Gun.
Ooh, those are some fight words for some people.
Yeah, I really loved it. Well, Top Gun, it's not a particular. I mean, it's not really a fandom of mine. You see the movie and then you move on. I'm not going to
really a fandom flick, to be fair. It was meant to be a story that was just one thing, and it wasn't until in more recent years like, hey, we should do a sequel. And like Scripps said earlier, it wasn't something that no one's asking for, not because people didn't like it. It's just because usually when there's a sequel, there's a few loose ends that like set the dominoes up. Top Gun ended so with a tight knot. It's just like there's nothing left hanging. But now when you actually watch Maverick, oh, okay, I can actually see that, and it kind of changes your perspective a bit. But when you think about it in theory, like, oh no, why do we need that? The movie ended with such finality. But hey, I'm glad I was wrong.
So yeah, you looking forward to the new movie 6 then?
Yeah.
Awesome, Shoss. Well, otherwise we're checking out. Do you got anything coming up you want to plug, or
not at all?
Yeah. No, nothing coming up? No shows?
No.
Oh, all right. Well, 6 does have a channel, so check it out. Clobby, what you got coming up?
Well, I'll be doing a normal, an open stream tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Central, but 9 p.m. Eastern on Thursday night. I'm proud to be part of Iconicon 2, Electric Boogaloo. Can't help it. I always say that. I was proud to be a part of it last year. It's, of course, put on by the great Retro Blasting channel. My good friends over there, and I'm doing a panel. They have a lot of. They start tomorrow, by the way. They got to go check out their website, Iconicon. You got a great schedule, a lot of great stuff, panels.
Love Retro Blasting.
Yeah, tell Mike I said hey.
Michael, they're all great friends, and I love them.
Talked to him in a while.
Melinda. I will.
This is my birthday.
Well, I will indeed, sir. And he will be Michael French and Chasing 80s Toys and Endless Bullets podcast will join me for my contribution to Iconicon on Thursday night, 9 p.m. Central. Excuse me, I want to say Central because I'm in the. It's actually 9 p.m. Eastern though. You can just go to Iconicon and pull the schedule up and see all the great panels they have. And we were talking about toy comics. I will be handling the comics end of Iconicon, and that will be our panel on that. Comics based upon toys, and looking forward to that.
Cool beans. Script, anything coming up?
No, nothing 100% yet. So, no.
I know we're going to try and do the Frighteners A-rated B movie, B-rated A movie this weekend, so
well, it's
shoot for
Canada
that. We'll
Day.
see.
It's Canada Day and 4th of July weekend. I'm unfortunately very busy.
That's this one. Okay, this is the next weekend then. Yeah, I
Next
don't even
weekend,
know what the hell weekend
it
it
seems
is
to be
anymore.
pretty open and looking good, so I'm hoping.
All right. Well, so other than that, we'll see. But Nick Weiser, we know what you got coming up here.
Oh, yeah. Toxic Tuesday, heavy metal, less than 1 hour. It's going to be huge. So come join us. And I got videos coming out this week. And, of course, Friday Night Comic Shop Talk as well on my channel. We talk comic books. And we have drinks over it, too. It's great. So
yes, a lot of fun.
Yeah, great show. Clobby's a part of that as well. So come sub, check out the fun. We promise a glorious time. And, Tom, thank you as always for letting me be on here.
No problem. And Rob Altus has a birthday tomorrow. Well, happy birthday tomorrow, Rob.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Rob.
Yeah. And yes, Script Doctor's engaged. Congratulations.
Oh, right.
Yes, indeed. And here's the link for Iconicon. You guys can check that out. I know I did a panel last year, a couple panels, but
Thanks, man.
I don't know what's going on this year. I know Mike was reaching out to me for something, and then I haven't heard from him in a while.
Is that in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Well, it's a virtual con. It's all on the YouTube, different YouTube channels.
Okay.
Even though they're but it's all just like they did last year. It's a virtual online con where they have some amazing panels. Go check out that schedule. It's incredible.
Yeah. All right. So with that, unless anybody has anything else, I think we're gonna wrap this one up. Who did we just lose? Oh, Mikey.
Oops. Went off Mikey.
He's gone. He had a phone thing. So check out Mike's channel as well. Take care of yourself, guys, and we will see you on the morning show tomorrow morning. And yeah, hopefully some of you will join us over on Nick's channel. Take care of yourselves.